Proudly brought to you by Barfoot and Thompson.
On the show today, we're talking investment in the Tauranga region in the sunny Bay of Plenty. Welcome to Property Matters. Welcome along to another Monday, and if you're listening live, I hope you had a fabulous long Matariki weekend. Here in Auckland, it was an absolute beautiful weekend, so I hope you made the most of it. Of course, you might be listening to one of our podcasts, which you can download from all your favourite podcast sites, including Apple and Samsung, iHeartRadio and Spotify, and check us out on YouTube. And if you want to write to us with any suggestions, ideas, or people you'd like us to get on the show, email us propertymatters@barfoot.co.nz. Now, I'm absolutely delighted to welcome our next guest. Speaking of sunshine, she's driven up from the sunny Bay of Plenty just to chat to us on a Monday afternoon, and that's the fabulous Jade Collins from Barfoot and Thompson, Cherrywood. Welcome, Jade.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
I hope the traffic was kind to you coming up.
I flew through.
Brilliant. I can't promise that when you leave at 5 o'clock today. You'll get a real experience of why you live in the sunny Bay of Plenty. Yeah. Great to have you here, and you've been, how long have you been in that role in the branch?
2 years.
2 years.
Yep. And prior to that, I was another 3 years on top of that. So all up 5 years.
Fantastic. So take us right back to the beginning. Before we talk about Tauranga as an investment area, let's just talk about you first of all. How did you first get into property management?
So back in 2020 something, I was in retail and had been in retail for 18 years, and very much with 2 young children, it was very, very hard. So my dad passed away, and he was the one that picked up the kids from school every day, and working until 5, 6, 7, starting at 8 o'clock in the morning was extremely hard. So I thought that I needed a change, handed in my notice with no job to go to.
Wow.
Just needed to get out. And then miraculously, a day before I got a phone call saying, can you come in for an interview at another property management company? And I went into them and they offered the job to me. And the day I was meant to finish in retail, I started at Quinovic.
Wow, so you kind of fell your way into property management. Was there something in there that you went, this is something I'm interested in? Or did you kind of just go, hey, I'm putting my name out to the universe and see what comes about?
I had no idea what property management was.
Oh, wow.
I had been renting, didn't know anything about property management. I didn't know that I was going to manage properties. I didn't know the law. I knew nothing. I had been a renter, but that's all I knew. So I just jumped in and gave it a go. Was trained for 2 weeks, and 2 weeks after that was on my own with 100 properties.
Wow. And fast forward to now, you're head of property management, not just looking after properties, but a team. So if you look back, what were some of those early lessons that helped shape you and how you do the job today from that kind of deep end experience, I guess?
So I think the biggest thing is you can be given training constantly. You can constantly take the training. The best way to learn and develop is by doing it. The law, yep, you need to know that. You need to know everything to do with the law. But when it comes down to literally being a property manager, that's life experience. That's experiencing it firsthand, getting into those properties, those relationships that you build with the tenants and the owners. It's all about doing as opposed to reading, studying, learning. It's that is how you become a property manager, is by being hands-on and doing it.
All that time in retail, though, must have given you some good skills. What did you bring from the retail sector into property management? Was it sort of that customer service, or being able to just sort of front foot people?
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely it would have been I came from retail for many years, but then my last few years in retail, I was doing repairs. And so when someone has a broken fridge, they are not happy. Mm-hmm. So learning and dealing with the different types of people that you get, and knowing how to problem solve and diffuse situations, listening to them and making them and understand how they're feeling to get it sorted. That took all of my customer service and brought it into property management. It was perfect, and that's just how it flew, because you're listening to the person, you're listening to their issues. You come into property management, you're listening to the person, you're listening to the issues. It just definitely worked. Yeah.
It's a career that can be really demanding. What's kept you in it, and I guess drove you to shoot for a leadership level?
So I guess every day is so different, which is why I love it and why that keeps the drive going, because there is not one day that is the same. I definitely think that watching my team grow has helped in making it feel like, you're definitely in it for the long run, because you see the growth that happens in with the team. I think that everyone comes into this and says, every day is different. Yeah. Guide us through that. If I was looking at it from a career point of view, what makes it different? What does a typical day look like, other than driving up here to talk to me? Like, what's a normal typical day look like for you? So I guess knowing what's happening in the team, so knowing where everyone's going to be, and then from there, then you just work out the way that you can see the different parts of the day that happens. So when one person on that day might say, I've got a mediation that day, hadn't told me about it.
Right.
So then you've got to then schedule your whole day to be able to fit and help with that person that's going to do mediation, because you want it to work. You want them to succeed. So do
you find that if you're somebody that likes variety, it gives you variety, because you're in and out of the office, you get that time that you're in, as you say, doing a mediation, then you might be out doing a viewing. Is that something that's appealing to you?
Yes, yep, definitely. So when, they are
It's hard, I'm throwing lots of questions.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to think of like a day-to-day.
Yeah.
A day-to-day life is so different each day, so it's hard to like structure your day. You got your inspections, you got your viewings. When you throw a mediation in or you throw something else in, your day does change so much that you're out in the office. Some days you might be in the office the whole time. So it's just so different, and it gives such a variety of different things in property management. So
what do you love most about it?
The relationship building, hands down. I think also watching the team grow, that I keep on going back to that, because seeing them succeed is something that is just one of the coolest feelings, is watching my team learn themselves and being there to support them, and then when they know the answer and they can figure it out themselves, you're like, you've got this, and you're running with it. You're building they're building their own relationships, which is that's the key thing, is the relationship building with your tenants and with your owners, because all of your tenants and owners are so different.
How do you balance that though with tenants and landlords? Because as you just said, they're all different. An owner might want this for the property, but a tenant's desperate. How do you do the balance? Because you're kind of stuck in the middle, aren't you?
Yes, yep. So I think the biggest balance would be that knowing the style of the owner and knowing the style of the tenant, because if you have one style may work for one owner, one style may work for one tenant, and knowing how to deal with them successfully is probably the biggest draw, is knowing how they want to be treated, because you have an owner that is laid back, that doesn't care, that just is like, yep, I've given that property to you, you look after it, I don't need you, I don't need to know anything, I've given it to you for that reason, that you're going to be the ones that's going to manage the property. Where then you have a tenant who is extremely high demanding with that owner that's just like, get it done. It makes it a lot easier, because you've got that high demanding tenant where the owner's just like, you do those repairs, you get it sorted. then you have the other extreme where you've got the owners that are wanting more, needing to know and more attention. Is that a tenant issue? Is that have they broken that, or am I liable for that? And that is constantly questioning you, which they're all great, and it's all about the communication that you've got to have with that owner and that tenant.
It's such the key is communication. Speaking of which, you recently won a customer service award for outstanding feedback from a tenant. Can you share a moment or a story where you really felt you made a difference to a client?
I can. It was in my early years, and I had two brothers that came in that had been trying to get a property for many, many, many months, and one was 18 and one was 22, and everyone was looking at them and just thinking, why would I put them into my property? Why would I even give them the chance? They've got barely little credit history. They've got barely little life experience. They're probably just going to be partiers. One was so successful, and he was he was still in university, but he had been being a barber since he was 16 and was trying to better himself. The other one was extremely on the spectrum, and he couldn't work, and he relied on his brother. His mum and his dad came to the viewing with them to try and say, can you just give my boys a shot? And they were the most humbling, beautiful boys that I've ever met, and I will always remember them. I saw them in the street the other day, and he came over and gave me a massive bear hug and said, you were the one, that's how I got into it. Because of you, I've started my rental, and I started my rental history to be able to get in there and get into those properties.
It's such a life lesson. I mean, everybody needs that first opportunity to be given to them.
Yeah,
and it's taken a risk.
Start somewhere.
And I think sometimes people assess that you've taken a risk on them, so they're probably going to be a better tenant for you than actually someone that's been a tenant for years, because they're feeling that pressure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
All right, so let's step away from your career journey now and focus on Bay of Plenty and Tauranga in particular for its lifestyle and appeal. Obviously, we're a live radio here in Auckland, but people listen to our podcasts all over the country. What do you think makes Tauranga and Bay of Plenty such a special place to live and work?
How fast we're growing.
Really?
So Tauranga is growing so fast. It's probably too fast for what we can handle, which is why we need many more investors to come and purchase properties so that we can put people into homes, because this winter has probably been the highest demand for rentals in the Bay of Plenty since I've been in the industry. There's so many opportunities in construction and the commercial divisions throughout the Bay of Plenty where we can't keep up, and people are needing rentals and needing homes to be able to live in. There's so many changes with the roads, where developments are happening everywhere to make it better, to make it flow, because we don't want to end up like Auckland. No offence.
No, none taken.
The Port of Tauranga, I mean, that's been in the spotlight recently. It's got massive job opportunities there, and they're needing housing, they're needing places to stay. There's so many people coming in. There's the developments going everywhere throughout the whole of Tauranga. So there's definitely a draw for needing more investments in the Bay of Plenty.
It sounds like employment opportunities as well, which is fantastic when so much of the country is struggling with that. Stepping aside from the development, how would you describe the lifestyle? Because you are surrounded by water, and it's always called the sunny Bay of Plenty. Yes. Do you notice a specific lifestyle switch there?
I do. We come up to Auckland quite a bit, and I do notice the feel in the Bay of Plenty. I mean, I've lived there my whole life. I've Tauranga, born and raised. I do feel that we are a lot more laid back. We are a lot more, it is what it is type situation, where up here you're in a hustle, you'll move everything so fast paced, where you go to Tauranga and it's definitely you're stepping into that beachy style vibe, where you can drive around the corner and you're at a beach, but you can also drive around the corner and you're in rural land. So or around the corner into a big shopping mall. Like, it's got it all.
There's something about seeing water that's calming.
Yes.
And it was interesting, I was down there recently and stayed in a motel, and there was just something about opening that door and seeing water that you just go, I'm ready to face the day. And that's a lifestyle thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Many decades ago, I used to spend my school holidays growing up, coming down. I used to catch the bus down to a family farm in Bethlehem and would spend my school holidays helping on a farm and orchards and in the shop. And from right back then, it was very much, I'd say there was a bit of an organic vibe to Tauranga. It was always someone that people that love nature, etc. Over the years, we've seen that shift into very much a retirement setting, and potentially certain political leaders have grown in that space as well and is still going strong and has really pushed that area. But it's not just about retirement now, is it?
No.
I mean, there are some amazing retirement villages, but do you find now it's got a really good cross-section? Because there was a time where I think young people like yourself would have built up your job, gone, and maybe come back to retire.
Yep, I have noticed massively that there is a lot of people that are moving out of home and staying in Tauranga. They're staying there and having families. They'll go away and they'll travel, but they'll come back. There's definitely more of a family vibe in the Bay of Plenty than there has been over the last couple of years. We are noticing a lot more families moving to Tauranga from down south, from Christchurch, Wellington. They're moving to us for family's sake. We're also noticing a lot of people coming in from overseas who are wanting the same thing for their young children. We've got an amazing amount of schools in the Bay of Plenty, and that is so a lot of families are looking for family homes to raise their children and put their kids through that good schooling.
Brilliant. What trends are you seeing in terms of sort of a demand for rentals? Like, are you noticing with all of those developments, it is you're getting more and more inquiries about rental properties? Definitely more and more inquiries about rental properties. That has been like that for probably the last 18 months. There's been a massive amount of demand in rental properties, especially family homes. You notice them always, it happens around the terms, the school terms. We're needing them probably the busiest time, or the most time that we need them the most, is the end of a year before. So they want to do their summer, they want to settle in for summer, and then they're starting fresh at their new schooling. It's definitely families. We're still wanting those 2 bedrooms as well, because there's still a massive demand for 2 bedrooms. You've got those people that are coming in for the hospital. You've got the people coming in for the commercial developments that are happening in the CBD, and people working at the port. I mean, we are getting them all the time, just couples wanting to start, and this is where it is, and they need those 2 bedrooms as well as family homes for their kids to do schooling. You've segued beautifully into my next question, which was what type of properties are performing best, and you've just named the 2 bedrooms, but new builds versus townhouses versus family homes, is it still a mix? Apartments, really? Apartments. That's growing. So apartments, I always thought that there was no drive for apartments. Our apartments that we've put out over the last couple of weeks have gone in the first viewing, because there is the feel of you're coming home every day, but you're not having to worry about doing gardening. You're not having to worry about washing the outside of the house. That's on the body corp. It's all good. You've just got your apartment that you're living in, and it's there's so many more people because of that low maintenance side that are wanting the apartment. And the security. I mean, I live in an apartment complex, and I feel so safe driving in late at night, straight into underneath, and swiping your way in, and no sense of who might be in the driveway, etc. It's a really safe feeling. Exactly. Interesting that's picking up in Tauranga, because when you drive around, you don't see lots of apartments, but you're starting to see them grow. There is a lot more townhouse developments happening in Tauranga, but the apartments that we have listed, they are the older apartments that we have in the Bay of Plenty and in Mount. Those are the ones that people know and have seen and driven past for so many years. And so when one comes up, they're like, we know exactly where that is. Let's jump on that. Yeah. Are there common mistakes that out-of-town investors are making, perhaps when they're buying in the region? You need 2 bathrooms. Yeah, 100%. So when you're buying a house and you're thinking, this is going to be a perfect house for a family, even if you're just wanting 3 people in the house, having 2 bathrooms is definitely something that we need more of, especially if you're building as a new build.
don't put one bathroom in, it's got to be 2 bathrooms.
Love it. Okay, so thinking about now property management, sort of the insights for landlords listening, perhaps a private landlord that's going, oh, cool, I like you, Jade, you're talking well about my area, but I'm quite happy to manage it myself. What are some of the biggest mistakes you're seeing people make when they self-manage?
Not knowing the law, I think that's the biggest thing. The not knowing the law is what we study, and we have to do modules throughout the year on. Everything is changing so much. You've had the pet laws, you've had the inspections that are going to be changing shortly from being quarterly to potentially going every 4 months, or even 6 months. Knowing when to do all of the inspections so that insurance will cover you is so vital. Knowing when to lodge the bond. There are so many hidden things that people that are looking after and self-managing themselves don't even think about, and that's just where we take all of that away, and it's all on us. You're covered.
What do you think private landlords underestimate about the role of the property manager? I mean, you mentioned a few there around the legal, but if you look at your team, perhaps, what are some of the things you think a private landlord just totally underestimates what you do?
Property managers do so much more than simply collect rent. We act as the legal buffer. So we navigate the tenancy law. We do emergency repairs. We're 24/7. They can be on an island sipping a margarita, and we're the ones that are picking up those phone calls because the toilet's blown up. So I think not knowing and underestimating how much we do in the background, because we are 24/7. As a property manager, it's a lifestyle. You don't switch off. You're constantly on call. You've got to pick up the phone if it's a tenant and there is a situation happening. You have to resolve it. It can't wait till the Monday. It can't wait 24 hours and I'll come back to you because I've had too many gins. So you've got to get back to the tenants, and just knowing that it's being cared for and looked after by someone with that legal background as well is so vital.
I guess that underestimating too of how valuable is their time. If I am a landlord and I want to be sipping margaritas on the beach at the Mount, that's my choice and my time for a small fee. Somebody else is taking all that stress off.
Yeah. Exactly.
How important is tenant selection? What does your process look like? How are you getting the right tenants in those beautiful apartments you're talking about?
So our tenant selection, we do cater to our owners. I think that's probably when we are doing new sign-ons, the biggest point that an owner makes is, do we get a say? And you do. We have many tenants that will apply, and we speak to you about who you want. What does your ideal tenant look like? And from that, we then select the tenant. It's not all on us. We then go through and do the credit checks and do the vital checks for sure. But prior to that, you have to tell us what you want as an owner. If you're one of those laid-back owners that says, you go, you pick, it's all in your hands, then that tenant selection would look like, how will they fit? It's a 1-bedroom apartment, so that's probably not going to work for your 5 children. So we would select someone else to then go through that process. But the best thing is knowing what the owner wants and then selecting the tenant to cater to that style of house that they want.
Do you ever get owners that want to interview the tenants
all
with
the
you?
time?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, we do.
I guess that's back to that first question, isn't it? The relationship stuff between tenant and owner, if that's really important to them.
We notice that a lot with our first round owners, so our owners that have just started with us, and we're kind of on that trial phase.
They haven't trusted you yet.
Yeah, we haven't built that trust. So we do, that is all part of that, growing that relationship with the owners. And we have had many people come in and say, can we come to the viewings and be in attendance while you're doing a viewing? Our biggest thing is that we want to know them first, because there's probably going to be a lot of those people that we wouldn't even give them a shot, and we've got to learn to know them. We have our process at Barfoot, which I absolutely love, is that everyone can come to a viewing. You can book it online and you can come. Where a lot of other companies, you have to inquire. You write down the phone number. We then used to look into you, and then we would come back and say, this is when we're doing the viewing. because the amount of people that do come to the viewings are people that you probably would have written off straight away, and then you actually meet them in person and they're completely different.
Listen to your story earlier with your two brothers.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's right.
If a tenant's listening, or an applicant, or someone young like you mentioned that story, listening, going, okay, any tips or tricks for me as I'm trying to apply for properties and I'm not getting them? Is there any advice you give? Is it a case if someone's constantly not getting them, they're not filling out the forms right, or they're missing information, or they're too brief? Like, I know in Australia they talk about the tenant CV these days, where, you literally want to present yourself. What tips do you have for someone that is struggling? Let's say two young guys trying to go out flatting for the first time.
Pick up the phone and talk to them. I think that's probably the best thing to do, especially in the Bay of Plenty, where there is so many other people looking for properties. You have 18 people coming to a viewing, and you're not going to stand a chance. Go to the viewing, book in online. That's the biggest thing, is don't call us and say, hey, when can I have this property, or when can I view this property? You want to book online, do the standard procedure. It says it on the advertising. Book online, go and have a look, then call that property manager and say, I'm just following up, I met you. Meeting after you've met that person in person, then from there you know that they actually do want it. They're interested in that property. But definitely talking to people and meeting them in person, and then pop into the office, come and see us.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. Can a tenant get feedback from you afterwards and find out, where they perhaps went wrong? And it might be just a case of, hey, the owner didn't choose you. They had 10 applications and they went with someone else. Nothing wrong necessarily with your application.
Exactly, that's right. Yeah. And don't overdo it. So no, we don't do a CV. We're not going to read your CV if you're applying for a property. We've got too much paperwork on our desk already, so we don't need a CV. But definitely, the more information you put on your application is better. The more references you put are better. Those shine and those stand out to us.
Nice answer. With changing regulations, you've mentioned the legal side. How critical is it for someone to be always across compliance?
Oh, I mean, things are changing so much in their compliance. So knowing when and why the laws are changing, not just, the laws are changing where you can't have a pet in a property, or you can have a pet in a property and now you can't, or you can have this one, you can't have that one. But knowing why, and actually knowing the full reasoning behind why these laws are changing, is so vital. That's just what I'd recommend.
You mentioned pets just then. Have you had, since the pet regulations came out, did you get inundated with pets overnight, or is it just a little trickle of a few more?
I think unfortunately, a lot of people are being put off because of the pet bond. So when you say, yes, okay, you can have a pet, or we can't say no, yes, you can have a dog, but then those people are struggling to come up with that 2 weeks rent. Right. So that's what we're noticing with people that are probably the ideal people to have them, to have an animal and want them for their young children, but then being put off because 2 weeks is a lot of money to come up with.
On top of your already 4-week rent bond.
Exactly.
Yeah, it is. It's huge. What are some simple things you think landlords can do to protect and grow their investment?
Looking after the landscaping, regular landscaping and garden maintenance is so vital, because it adds so much value to a house just by the way that it looks and it's presented outside. Making sure that you're doing the gutter cleans and the roof cleans, spray the roof with a bit of paint. That adds, and it makes your property look so much more appealing from the outside.
And is that the sort of thing that you recommend as a property manager? Will you say to an owner, hey, your gutters are due to be done?
We do all the time, yeah. Gutters for sure, but in between tenancies, and the upkeep on it, we are constantly looking at all of those. But for you to protect it and look after it and grow your investment just by doing a repaint inside is so perfect in between a tenancy, because it makes it look so much more fresh and sharp, and
Nice. All right, I'm going in for the sale. I give you permission for a sales pitch here. Jade, since you've driven up from Tauranga, I'll let you. For someone listening anywhere in New Zealand, why do you think they should trust your team in Tauranga to manage the property, and what sets Barfoot and Thompson Cherrywood apart from other property management options?
We know the area.
Yeah.
We're all over it, yes. So we, the area, as I've mentioned, is changing all the time. The Bay is growing massively, but we know the area. We have so much specialty in our constant training that we're doing. We've got such an amazing team with so many years' experience. we definitely stand out compared to a lot of other people that have not as many property managers. We have a lot of property managers in our team. We have an amazing team, diverse team, so connected. We've got social media skills by one of them. We've got life knowledge by another. So our team has just... all up. I think we worked it out that there's about 30 years experience in a whole with us. So,
brilliant.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Life knowledge. Now, I think that's such a great line for saying somebody's a bit older than everyone else.
Yes,
that was so
right.
beautifully said.
Thanks.
Life knowledge. Now, anyone listening in the branch, we're going, was she talking about me? How do you maintain communication and transparency with landlords that are not based in Tauranga, so out of town or even out of the country listening in?
WhatsApp is definitely the one where we and doing the after hours call. So scheduling a time with those owners that you know are hard to get. Majority of them, as soon as I know that they are out of town or overseas, it's what's your best place to contact? Facebook, WhatsApp, where can I reach you? And then scheduling in those times. Out of town, they love to see their properties because they aren't coming in. They haven't seen it for a while. So making sure that you're doing a sneaky little video when you're sending your inspection off so that they can see the property as opposed to just a few photos of a room. You do a walkthrough with them so they can get that feel of it's being well looked after. I've made that right decision.
Nice, I like that. And if someone's looking at investing and purchasing in the Bay, how can your team help support them through that purchasing process when it comes to perhaps thinking, is this a suitable property to rent as an investment?
Well, to start off, it would be super easy if they made it a lot easier for us if they purchased it from Barfoot and Thompson, Cherrywood. They bought it from our sales team. Then we work closely with our sales team so that just kind of flows. We know where we're going because we've probably already did the appraisal for that property that person's purchased and making an investment. We would do video calls with at the property with the owners, speak to them, especially if they're not here, and do frequent catch-ups. We'd talk about what we were going to do in the process of here's the property management authority for you to sign. Let's work through the easiest transition and then going back to finding that tenant selection and finding the right tenant.
Nice. Any advice for tenants on building strong relationships with property managers and, in turn, I guess, their landlords? Like long-term, if they're renting, what can they do to keep a good relationship with you from a tenant point of view? Definitely communication as well. I think that's something that is very much looked over, and yes, we need to communicate with our owners, but our tenants are so vital too. And if you've got a good relationship with your tenant, it makes your job so much easier because they do want to message you on a Saturday and say, hey, I've broken something in the house and I am so sorry, and where it would be hidden from a lot of people that are a bit worried or concerned about contacting their property manager because we aren't all scary. And I think that the relationship building is so vital with your tenants so that they feel comfortable to come to you. That's definitely. I love how you say we aren't all scary. So many people say to me, have you seen that TV show Renters? That used to be out? And it's like, that's not the world of property management. That was a very student flat driven, where you probably have to be a little bit scary and a little bit hard-nosed. But, what have you seen change in the property management space? In which way? Or what are you seeing changing now, I guess? Like, what trends are you seeing change? Is it very much now using technology more? Or are you seeing far more people turning up to viewings? Are there any sort of common trends? I definitely think both. I think that we are seeing a lot of people coming to viewings that potentially could own their own homes, but the properties that we have online are a lot nicer or a lot in a desired area. So they're like, let's give this a go. Let's move into this property on the beachfront and see if we like it. Let's stay here for 12 months fixed term and then see if we're going to purchase. We have a lot of those that I've noticed recently as well, especially those people moving from different parts of Tauranga, different parts of the Bay Plenty, New Zealand, moving to the Bay Plenty. We got you. And then also AI is taking over. Oh, really? Yeah, it definitely is. More for us, it's been amazing. It has been so
awesome having the ability to be able to show a homeowner through their property by a 360 tour with our inspections. And then I think the biggest thing is how well it stands up in tribunal when you have a tenant that's so adamant that they didn't drop a red wine on the ground and have made a massive stain, where we have that photo in that exact same position at their entry, and when they left the property, that was there.
So it just stops the arguments, doesn't it?
It does. It's time stamped, it's date stamped. We've got proof that you did drop that red wine.
Gone are the days of the property manager with a clipboard and a piece of paper and a little tick sheet, you know.
I remember it.
Yeah, I used to remember my property manager used to text me, say, put the jug on, milk, 1 sugar, and would literally come in, have a coffee, and then tick a few things. But you do wonder, if you weren't a good tenant, it would be pretty easy to hide things. Yes. Are you finding landlords are becoming more professional in how they approach having investments these days?
Yes, definitely. I think that there are a lot of people that know. We have so many multi-owners that know the type and style of investments that they should be purchasing in the Bay of Plenty, and what the demand is right then and there. We are also only a phone call away, so calling us and finding out what's needed. I want to buy another property. I've come in to sell a little bit of money. Let's buy another property. What do you guys need? And like I said, those 2 bedrooms and even apartments, family homes, they are all needed, especially in the Bay of Plenty at the moment. But they are becoming more clued on to working with us as well. Our owners are amazing at reaching out and letting us know what should I do, or what should I do to put more into my properties to make the rental market, we're in the rental market.
And I guess to increase that value, isn't it? Those little things, like you said, get the 2 bathroom. You know, it's those little tips that you can give an investor that's going to make a difference to the price that they get. Yeah. If you weren't in property management, what do you think you'd be doing?
I really don't know. I have spoken quite a lot about potentially going into sales when the children leave home. I've got 2 young kids. I don't think I'm ready to take away my Sunday sleep-ins just as of yet. It would have to be something to do with property management. It would have to be something to do with customer service, because I do love helping people and putting a smile on people's face, fixing situations, diffusing situations. So I'm not 100% sure. If I had to flick and change, I'd probably go into sales.
Nice. You said right at the beginning, you know, you've been a renter, you've walked the shoes of a tenant. What would you
Still do,
great. What would you look for either as a tenant or a landlord if you were choosing a property manager? Like, how would you decide which one's right for me? You can't say yourself here. Okay. But what sort of skills or qualities would you be looking for?
I think it's going back to someone that knows the area as well. You want someone that is going to know and look into the future at what will happen with the property. In my property, is this an up and coming area? Is it not? Finding that person that will work well within your rental and knows your area and knows your rental and knows the area is so vital. Yeah.
Nice. Finally, if someone is sitting on the fence about investing in Tauranga, what would you say to them?
Don't wait, just do it. We need you. We need investors. We need more properties for people to move into. It's growing massively. The Bay of Plenty, as I've said so many times, it's growing, and we need more houses. We need more people. We need, yeah.
It's so cool because, I mean, the whole region and council had a bit of a rocky few years ago, but it's so great to see that it's really picked itself up. How can people get in touch with you if they want to chat to you and find out more, or help get you involved in choosing their next investment property?
So you can reach me at Barfoot and Thompson, Cherrywood, Tauranga. I am there pretty much all of the time. If not, then one of my friendly staff will be able to meet you there. My phone number is 021 803 208.
It's been buzzing during the show. She's very popular. Got a Spotify playlist ready for your car trip home?
I sure do.
Thanks so much for coming the way up to Auckland to chat with us. All the best for the rest of the year, and we'll be excited to see where the Bay of Plenty heads next.
Very exciting. Thank you, Stephen.
Thanks, Jade. Thanks for tuning in, everybody, and thanks for Barfoot and Thompson for sponsoring today's show. Have a fabulous rest of your week. Hope the sun keeps shining in your world. Take care. Have a good night.